In this video, I'm going to show a simple but powerful technique for planning podcasts. So what I have here is a blank template. This is something that you could create and share with your students as an assignment for them to help plan their podcast. And then as they record their podcast, they can use this template to fit the pieces into the right place. So what I have here in this first track is my outline. As I move my mouse here, you can see I have these sections labeled intro, episode description, icebreaker, guest story, topic 1, topic 2, guest final, and then the show bumper or the closing. So obviously each of these sections can be customized. You can change them however you want. You can build new structures or new outlines for your students. Either you can create one and then give it to your students, or you can show them this process and allow them to set their own structure. So the way I created this track, it's really simple. I just went to add new track. I chose any software instrument. It doesn't matter because you're not actually going to make a sound. You just need it to be a software instrument. And that way I can add a new region by clicking anywhere, or I can right click and say create region. And then if you zoom in on that region, you'll be able to adjust the length. So if I grab the bottom right edge of that, I can drag it out and make it longer. And then I can either repeat that process, or I can just copy and paste multiple regions and then adjust the links of those regions and set them where I want them to be. Then once I've set them to be the right length, I can go to edit name, and then I can add the name, like maybe this is the part where I do guest intro. Whatever it is, I can label that right there and then move on to my next section. Do the same thing, edit name, and name that section. So I'll do this to create the outline like I've already done. And then if you also want to give a little bit more help to your students, you can create blank tracks so they can see, okay, I need to have a guest microphone, I need to have the host microphone, have a separate track for background music, and maybe separate tracks for other things. So that's really it. You can start with a blank project, build this outline track with a blank MIDI track or software instrument track using blank regions, and create the outline. Now what I've got here is the finished product. So this is after I've recorded the podcast, done some editing, added all the background music in, and made some finishing touches and fades. So you can see here I've got a separate track for the intro where I play this podcast's intro. So if this is a true podcast where I have multiple episodes, I'm gonna have the same intro and outro for every episode. So I've got a track right here to include that. I'll play just a little bit of that so you can hear what that sounds like.
There's no art form more powerful than music.
And so that's just an audio file that I can put in every single podcast episode. And then moving on here, I can see the episode description. So I've got this track right here where I have a specific description that's different for every episode that I can record into that track. And then starting here, I've got the icebreaker and where I actually am starting to have the conversation with my podcast guest. Then here I've actually changed the title, so not just topic 1, topic 2, but actually filled in what this particular guest was talking about. And then finally, to close it up, I did a little bit of a closing dialogue, and then I have a similar podcast outro that's used for every single episode that I dropped in here for the closing. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what a finished podcast might look like after you've done the outline and then recorded it and done some editing to make it match your outline. But this outline and planning strategy hopefully can be a very useful tool for you as you start building podcasts for the first time with your students.